Hey everyone, I'm Nicole Adair, Senior Dev Advocate at the SDF. You may have seen the new website that we launched a few weeks ago at stellar.org. And with that launch, we've also put out a few new resources. Sorobanland, which you can find at stellar.org/developers/Sorobanland, is a guide to Soroban developer resources. And today I'm going to walk through the site and talk through how you can use Sorobanland to navigate the ecosystem no matter what stage you're at. So, the Soroban developer programs and resources on this page are organized around specific goals. You can find these categories, for instance, Discover here, which is our first, simply by scrolling down the page, or by clicking this Jump to in-page navigation bar. Are you looking to discover Soroban and learn about smart contracts generally? Are you ready to start leveling up your knowledge? Are you ready to build your own projects or grow projects you've already started? Or are you looking to contribute to the community, source resources, or simply connect with other builders? At any point on this page, you can navigate to one of these sections using this in-page nav bar. But we'll start with Discover, so I can talk through all of the programs that we have. This is a great place to start if you are brand new to blockchain or to smart contracts in general. Blockchain basics, for instance, will cover the fundamentals of blockchain, which you can follow up with additional articles on the stellar.org/learn page related to the Stellar network. If you would prefer a video series, the Luminance videos will give you a rundown of blockchain, the Stellar network, and dive into concepts like the Stellar Consensus Protocol, assets and anchors, accounts and transactions, and more. Then SDF's YouTube channel is another really great resource of videos related to the Stellar network and various updates. Still within this same Discover category, as you start your Soroban and smart contract journey, the Smart Contract Basics resources, Developers blog, and the Soroban YouTube channel will cover the fundamentals of smart contracts and explain the necessary building blocks of a smart contract ecosystem. Those are things like oracles, AMMs, lending and borrowing markets. All of these resources will also provide important updates to Soroban, relevant ecosystem announcements, and include code walkthroughs of important smart contract concepts. The Soroban YouTube channel in particular is growing. You may have seen some of my other videos up on there, so definitely be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on new content. So that's kind of what we've got for Discover. Moving on, we go to Level Up. So if you are ready to get hands-on experience building with Soroban, feel free to jump here. The programs and resources in the Level Up section will still give you the fundamentals of Soroban and smart contracts, but you'll also be challenged with practical exercises, not to mention a lot of games, which is awesome. So Stellar Quest and Soroban Quest are both learning games about the fundamentals of the Stellar network and the Soroban syntax, respectively. RP Siege and Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control, down here on the second row, are two games that go beyond the basic syntax covered in Soroban Quest with the specifics and nuances of writing secure and performant smart contracts. I definitely recommend starting with Stellar Quest for Stellar fundamentals and Soroban Quest or RP Siege for Soroban and Rust-based smart contract learning before moving on to FCOC, otherwise known as Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control. But feel free to play around. It's really fun, some really fun resources that we've got. Next up, we've got the build section of Sorobanland. So this section is really great for developers who've got some experience writing smart contracts on Soroban or who are ready to start experimenting with their own projects. That said, a few programs in this category don't require any prerequisites at all. So the Soroban dApps Challenge is a really great place to start to learn the Soroban syntax and gain practical smart contracts and dApps experience with no prior knowledge required. This is kind of like an end-to-end, start-to-finish dApps development course, which will give you a lot of the back-end and also kind of front-end practical knowledge as well. Similarly, Sorobanathon Road to Mainnet, a hackathon which is still ongoing as of today, is a great place to get started learning Soroban that gets you into building projects and writing smart contracts. So you can build on projects you start in the dApps Challenge and Sorobanathon, then in Scaffold Soroban, which is a GitHub repo that contains numerous dApps, example dApps to experiment with. And so this is kind of like a great progression for the build section. After that, there's the SCF Startup Camp, which is a virtual boot camp to prepare teams and individuals for submitting project applications to the Stellar Community Fund, which I will get to in a second. So the SCF Startup Camp is a great program if you've already started a project or you're looking for support to keep building. Finally, we're working on a few new programs to support builders at this stage in their Soroban journey. We will definitely update Sorobanland with announcements about future hackathons, and we hope to add a job board support for developers who've gained skills and experience with Soroban and are looking for opportunities to apply to those skills. So definitely, look back soon as we grow these resources and add updates here. Moving on, then we have the Grow section of Sorobanland. So here we've got programs and resources that are great for developers and startups who are already building in the Soroban ecosystem, building smart contracts, who have a clearly defined project, and who are interested in getting funding and support for their project. If you are such a developer and you've already gone through the SCF Startup Camp up in the build section, the next step is to apply for the Stellar Community Fund, also known as SCF. For others, depending on the kind of project you're building and the makeup and goals of your team, you might consider applying for a marketing grant or the matching fund or even the Stellar Enterprise Fund. Each of these programs has specific eligibility requirements and conditions that definitely should be met. So take a look at that specific page linked here for more information about each of these programs. Finally, in the Grow section, we hope to add accelerator and incubator support for future projects, so definitely check back for more on this at a later stage. Moving on then, our next category is contribute. There are a number of different ways to get involved in the Soroban community and ecosystem. So first is the community blog, where community members can share updates, resources, and tools related to the Stellar network and Soroban ecosystem. Then we have a number of bounty programs, so content bounties encourage community-made dApps and other content with awards for quality submissions. These can be really, really fun and really, really awesome. So, definitely if this is the kind of content that you'd like to create, definitely head here. Similarly, the Soroban and Stellar Bug Bounty programs provide awards for developers who discover vulnerabilities in Soroban and the Stellar network, respectively. And finally, the SCF Verified Members. This program gives community members the opportunity to give input on the Stellar Community Fund, SCF, including structure, governance, and award application. So this is a great program for developers interested in really influencing the growth of the Soroban ecosystem. Next up, the second to last category in Sorobanland is Source. Here you will find links, first and foremost, to the Stellar and Soroban developer documentation. The developer resources page then is a developer hub that contains further links to additional documentation, tools, tutorials, and other resources to support your building experience. And of course, GitHub for open source Stellar Network and Soroban repositories, and finally Stack Exchange for Stellar Network and Soroban Q&A. So all of those resources linked here under this source section. Which brings us to our final category, Connect. Discord is going to be a very important developer resource for feedback, questions, and mentoring, in addition to support, Q&A, and other Soroban and Stellar Network announcements. Then we have the Partners Directory, which is a great place to go for integration support with existing service providers and the developer tools that they offer. And finally, YouTube, actually linked again. Twitter and Twitch are all great socials where you can connect and get announcements, join live events, and participate in the community as the Soroban ecosystem grows. And the Soroban ecosystem is growing, which means Sorobanland probably will grow too. But in the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. Did you find this video useful as a guide to navigating Soroban developer programs and resources? Have you explored Sorobanland and found the programs and resources helpful in guiding you around the ecosystem? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the Soroban YouTube channel.